Hey everyone, it's Andrew. Welcome to Atomo, January 3rd, 2023. We're in the new year now. There's a lot of things going on. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the Petroyuan. There's an article up on the Financial Times, and they talk about they give a little bit of history with the US setting up the security situation in the Middle East and having the oil peg put in using US dollars. So given that in 1971 Nixon took the dollar off of the gold reserve, uh, then what happens is, well, you need to back it up by something. And since the United States had a lot of the security guarantees and alliances and the ability to move oil around, and I believe also trade it on the in U.S. Trading markets, then they've built the infrastructure for financialization of oil. But now we have changes that are coming into play. Here's a name to look for, Zoltan Pozar. He's written some white papers. He's a Credit Suisse analyst. He's written some really good white papers about this. He's even opening the door to the potential of having gold kind of underwrite some of the currency, especially with a basket of currencies. This is what what BRICS and kind of the OPEC plus can do is establish a new commodities region and put it together and build a new type of, it's the global South market. I don't know what to call it, whether it be a BRICS market or something else, but China is building the trade infrastructure. And so that now they can take the yuan as payment for oil. So what that's going to do is it's going to build a new type of financial market. So this is something to keep an eye on. Even Jerome Powell said that there is room for two reserve currencies. No longer does, in Powell's estimation, that the United States needs to be the global reserve currency. And there's some benefits for that, especially if Powell, one of the thoughts that might come to fruition over some time is a new regionalization of the federal rate. Because remember, the Federal Reserve is broken into multiple reserve banks in different districts of the United States. That was back done a long time ago, over 100 years ago, or I don't know. The Federal Reserve, I think, came in the 1920s or something. So I can't recall if the Federal Reserve was placed on top, but you still had the regional banks. But anyhow, the idea is, if different areas of the USA are developing differently at different scales, or they have different levels of, just say, employment, or they want to, boost, just say, some industries in the area. And this is where the reindustrialization of the United States, it's been torn apart pretty much after the WTO. So here's some things to put together here. Is after the offshoring of a lot of US ability to manufacture, the re-onshoring of that might need an instrument in the way that we can take certain areas of the USA and make them enticing for the buildup of a new industry or rehoming some of those industries. Because what happens in this situation, if we go back to the article here and we think about the establishment of this group of countries, you got the most population, we take the global south, that's China and India put together in the BRICS, you basically have the strong majority of the people in the world. That means you have an extremely large labor base. You have the resources, especially energy, with partnering up with Russia in the Middle East. Energy is no problem. So they got that, and then it's just a matter of getting enough natural resources in to build the things needed to continue the development of the global south. And this might come to beggar the United States. As why the wokeism and all that stuff that's going on in the collective West is just disastrous. The other countries that are not into that political correctness stuff, it's just friction. It slows down progress. And people say, "Oh no, we have to have this equality and all." Okay, there's points to be made. Are you going to have countries that don't just want to have that within their zeitgeist? They've been kind of, if we want to put it, under the yoke of the global West or the collective West for so long that they now have their chance to shine. And it could be the ability for the West to shine as well, but with the political correctness landscape. I think it's just a matter of time before that turns into a sort of autocracy in its own right and just slows down any sort of progress. And that's already happening in Western universities. Just the amount of ability to not be able to think and talk and debate freely is going to allow the global South to really go on a shining trajectory once they get Russia's cleaned up after the 1990s. China has some work to do. I'm not saying that these countries are exemplars of all what is virtuous and good in the world. Every country has a lot of warts, and all countries have it. But to keep thinking about this, there's something that so I want to make this a shorter video today. I'll put this article link in for you to take a look at. Where this writer goes is, if I were a U.S. policy, so I quote here from the article, quote, "If I were a U.S. policymaker, I'd think about ways to increase North American shale production over the short medium term and offer Europeans a discount for it while speeding up the green transition. That's yet another reason why Europeans shouldn't be complaining about the Inflation Reduction Act, which subsidizes clean production in the U.S. The rise of the Petroyuan should be an incentive for both the US and Europe to move away from fossil fuels as quickly as they can," unquote. Putting up windmills and solar farms is not going to be it. Now, if you want green energy, then you just do a Manhattan Project on fusion as fast as you can. And then these countries that are going with all their fossil fuels would have to get to the point where they have the engineering technological know-how, because there's thankfully still the United States and the collective West still has the thinkers needed. Not saying that Russia and China doesn't have the thinkers, but it's that's what an open and free society does, is it generates the ability for us to debate and have to be able to exchange the information that we need for us to debate optionalities of technology and the ethics of technologies and the ways of implementation of technologies, and having enough free market openness that there are players, like free agent players, that want to fund this stuff because they can capitalize it and make money off of it. That's the whole reason why we have so much good stuff in the West, is capitalism works. Corporatism, which is when you get to the point where the government links up with companies, and you only have like a select king makes specific companies, well, then the centralization that comes with that comes with an extremely heavy foot that doesn't allow a lot of free thinking, as much as if we were to have a loose federation of companies that get together and with certain pulling back of regulations within an experimental vector that we want to go down. So your regulators would, or your government would take away regulations that would make fusion difficult, and then you get it financed through, people like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos could put in and fund these technologies. Of course, with the early internet, we want these technologies to be open and available to people, and there will be disruption. Fusion would be a massive disruption, probably far at the level of the internet, and disruptions have good and bad elements to them. And hopefully, the getting free power to everybody is a great one. And if I were to go down Star Wars lore, the gentleman, I think Urso, that developed the super laser weapon, thought he was developing the kyber crystal generation system for the good of the galaxy, and then Tarkin throws kind of the curveball out. No, we're building a weapon. We're going to blow stuff up. So there's, we can always go to Star Wars and the Rogue. I think it's the Rogue One canon that talks about that, the lead up to the first Death Star, and it kind of follows a bit in the parallel here. And I thought I'd just leave that with you. So have a good one, and thanks for tuning in as usual. Yeah, have a good one. Thank you.